This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Luke Sylvia and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic! What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is October 27th, 2022. Jonathan Osborne here. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Luke Sylvia. Luke, the Magic are 0-5. What's going on?
Yeah. Well, in that regard, I'm not great, but other than that, I can't complain. But in my personal life, it's good. But unfortunately, the Magic bleed into my personal life. So it is unfortunate. It's not great. I can't lie to you. 0-5, like you said. We won't get into it in depth right now, but I believe that the worst start in franchise history is the 90-91 season, where the Magic started out 0-6. And I believe they went on to go 31-51 that season, which is it bad that right now that doesn't sound terrible to me?
I don't know. I'm in shock and definitely wasn't expecting to start 0-5. Thought, maybe 2-3, like maybe 1-4 at this point. Like, obviously, you take a look at the schedules, like, all right, we should win the first game against Detroit. Looking back, we still should have won that game. We've still been competitive in most of each of the first 5 games. Like, you get beat up pretty badly by the Knicks, but it's 5. 4 minutes ago, you're down by 5 tonight against the Cavs. We're recording this Wednesday night after the loss to the Cavs, and we'll break all of that down. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll have just kind of like a big picture of the Magic right now, like what they're struggling with, which is seemingly everything. But yeah, man, as exciting as it is to have guys like Paolo and Franz right now, especially with so many guys out, it feels like that's all we have. And that, to me, is what has been kind of deflating, because we expected other guys to kind of pick up where they left off last year, and that hasn't totally happened. I want to take a quick second here. I know a lot of you have seen this on social media, but the Orlando Magic have partnered with Copper Craft Distillery to do this limited edition 407 bourbon. There's only 407 of these bottles. We have number 81 here. So a big shout out to the Orlando Magic for this gift here. We posted to our social media, to Instagram and also to Twitter. You can find a list of all of the fine retailers in the Central Florida area that are currently carrying those. They are going fast. Some people are picking up 2-3 bottles.
People
so
are going
definitely
crazy.
get out there and get yours. This one is staying sealed until the Magic win a title. I'm not a big drinker. Like, I might have like a beer every now and then. I definitely don't drink a lot of whiskey, but I promise you I will be sipping on this once the Magic win a title. God knows how long that might be. My grandkids might have to crack this for me when I'm dead and gone. I don't know.
It does feel funny that that's you're having to say that in the same breath of, like, we're 0-5. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But I don't know also if sipping would be the word either for when the Magic win a championship and we crack open that bottle. But
I'm gonna get a taste of it, and then I'll probably navigate to something a little bit easier on me. Whiskey just makes my whole mouth numb. I've never been a whiskey drinker. I much prefer, like, if I'm going to drink a cocktail, I always go like Grey Goose or Tito's. I go like the vodka route. Not a big whiskey guy. So yes, I will be sipping on it. I have to have a taste of it, because we did wait until we cracked it, and it was 84,000 years. So 84,000-year-old bottle of whiskey should taste pretty good, I would imagine. So we'll have to try that out eventually. I know a lot of you. I know why you're here. We know why you are in our Patreon now. You're waiting to hear the results of the giveaway. We're going to get to that in just a moment here. We have so much Orlando Magic basketball stuff to get to. We want to get some of these more formal items kind of out of the way. So a lot of patrons to shout out. The response to the giveaway was honestly really, really great. A ton, like I said, a ton of new patrons. I just want to shout out a couple folks really quickly. We have Julio, who's been a patron of ours for a long time. It went from the $5 per month to the $10 per month this week. Big shout out to Julio. And then Rafael Perez, who joined the Patreon not that long ago. And he said, you know what, I'm giving these guys $5 per month, but it's not enough. I want to give them $10 per month. So a big, big thank you to Rafael. Again, if you guys haven't heard, we do have a Patreon channel now. If you want to help financially support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/the6man show. And then in terms of new patrons, which we shout out our brand new patrons every single week, I'm going to go ahead right now and shout out Billy Roberts, Himothy, Destined for Greatness, who not only is he a new patron, but he came through with the $10 annual. He went the full year with us. Really, really appreciate that. Destined for Greatness. Caleb Pete, Zachary K, our boy Cannibalism, also the entire year. Interesting name, especially with the Dahmer series that just came out not that long ago. Very interesting tag there. But our boy Cannibalism went the $100 the whole year. So thank you so much. Again, if you guys go annual, you get a 15% discount on your Patreon membership for the entire year. Our boy Ty, Mr. TV, has been a supporter of the show for a long time. Big Al, a.k.a. Magic to the Moon. I don't know about that, Big Al, but we're trying out here. Brandon Grace, Laurent Valles Jr., Chad 3045, again, Julio, Joe Rothfuss, Buck Flake, I think that is he's meaning something else there. Young Flashlight, very interesting name. Ryan Casey, John Molino, Paul McKinty, Randall Moses, Alex Horvath, kind of a B Dill. ESPN really sucks. They do. We'll talk more about that in a little bit here. Gear 95 Shred, Sergio Diaz, and Dalton Duncan. Those are all of our new patrons this week. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate that. I'm going to throw it to Luke, who is going to shout out our Hall of Fame tier patrons.
Yeah, we'll go ahead with that here. Shout out Court Cousins, Armin, Carson Tulo, Jonathan Borges, Normal, Magic Player History, Julio, Bailey, Gabe Gaines, Wiffle, Michael Salapong, Franz Goaded for Show, Ryan Singh, The Distract, Luke's Mom, I'm Ron Burgundy, Pierre A, Migzors, Dylan Holden, Mr. Mikey, Lil Penny, Drum, Danimal, Dutto15, Bobby Skinner, Nate Donley, Goody 93, Teddy Sylvia, shout out my mom, Breadhead, Brian Leggins, Eric Lopez, Fuchsia, Juan Geraldo, Bill Fulton, Edmund Ligon, Jose Esquilin, Des 10 for Greatness, Caleb Pete, Cannibalism. I'm hoping you tell us and correct us on that pronunciation. But until then, Cannibalism, Brandon Grace, Chad 3045, Joe Rothfuss, ESPN Really Sucks, Gear 95 Shred. Thank you guys.
You guys are awesome. Again, you can find us at patreon.com/the6man show. So we announced this last week, Luke, that we were doing this kind of Patreon giveaway to give back to our patrons, the people that help financially support the show and really help us do everything that we do and just really make us, make the show better. So we're giving away a signed Tracy McGrady jersey to the first place winner. And then to the second place winner, we're giving away tickets to the Hornets game coming up on this Friday, October 28th. Tickets to the Kings game on November 5th. Obviously, that's in Orlando. And then we're giving away a statement jersey of their choice. Whichever player, whatever they wanted to say on the jersey, we're going to go ahead and hook that up. So should I do the first place first or should I do second place first? How are you feeling, Luke?
Let's do second place first and then the grand finale winner. All
right. The winner of the second place prize, again, so you get tickets to the Hornets game this Friday, 10/28. And then the home game versus the Kings coming up on November 5th. And then you get a statement jersey of your choice, whoever you want on that jersey, what size you want. Just go ahead and let us know. That is going to Ty, Mr. TV. Congratulations. Thanks so much for joining the patron. And then, drum roll, please. The first place prize, the signed Tracy McGrady jersey, is going to one of our guys who's been a patron for a pretty long time. It is going to ABCD Eduardo. Congratulations. Make sure to hit us up, give us all of your shipping information, and we'll go ahead and get that out to you as soon as possible. If you did not win, this is not going to be the last giveaway that we do. It's not going to be the last Patreon giveaway that we're going to do. So, but you all helping with the Patreon allows us to do really cool stuff like this. We gave away a Shaq jersey. We gave away a T-Mac jersey, a statement jersey, some Magic tickets. I don't know how we're going to top this, Luke. I don't know that we can. But next time will be a super awesome giveaway as well. So again, just thank you all so much.
I mean, you think about it, Jonathan. We had a ton of new patrons that wanted to in on the giveaway. A lot of them really said, I've been listening for a while. Some of them said, I'll admit, it's for the jersey. Like, that's why I'm a patron now. But a lot of them said, I've just been supporting for a while. I want to continue supporting you guys how I can. Figured it was about time to do that. The more patrons we get, Jonathan, the bigger these giveaways can get. And I'm just dreaming here. And you let me know what you think about this. When the time comes, the Magic are, pivotal playoff situation. Who knows? We have enough patrons. Maybe we get a little giveaway for like 2 playoff tickets. Now I don't know where they'll be
It's
in
not
the
outside the realm
stadium
of
in
possibilities.
the arena, but also that depends on how many patrons we have. So when that time comes, really we can't do this without you guys. Like Jonathan said, the prizes only get bigger and better as we are able to continue to do those things. As you guys support the show, we put everything back into the show, and so we are grateful for you guys and happy that we're able to do our first real successful giveaway like this.
I don't want to promise too much because, like I said, like for me as a Magic fan, these are 2 of the best prizes I think that we could possibly give away the last couple last few weeks here. So, but we'll figure something out. Like we said, we really appreciate you guys and want to continue to give back to you guys. So we'll think of something. I got some ideas up here in the old the old chamber. So we'll see what we can do. Luke, I'm mad. Let's talk about the state of the Magic right now. So last we checked in, we were 0-3. We are now 0-5, which is the worst record in the league. Let's go. On the season, the Magic have an offensive rating of 105, which is good for 28th in the league. They have a defensive rating of 113.5, which ranks 19th in the league. Their overall net rating is negative 8.4, which is good for 28th in the league. However, they are 10th in free throw rate. Shout out to Paolo Banchero, Jalen, Markelle, Jonathan Isaac, Gary Harris, Mo Wagner all remain out. None of those guys obviously have any timetables for their return. Before we talk about the Knicks game, before we talk about the Cavs game, something was released today, Luke. And this is, other than the loss today, this made me more mad today than anything. The NBA Central tweeted out that NBA quote-unquote insiders vote on the best managed teams in the NBA via ESPN, and the Magic were ranked dead last. Now, this annoys me for a couple of reasons. One, because the Sacramento Kings haven't made the playoffs for 20 plus years, so it just doesn't make any sense to me in how they could possibly be managed better than the Orlando Magic. The Washington Wizards, who have been just really pathetic the last few years, they have arguably the worst contract in the league with Bradley Beal. That they signed an extension to this past offseason. But as you just look through the rankings here, like you've got the Miami Heat, the Toronto Raptors, the Clippers, the Warriors, the Bucks, the Grizzlies, the 76ers, the Oklahoma City are 8th, then the Nuggets, then the Phoenix Suns. Down towards the bottom, you've got the Los Angeles Lakers, the Brooklyn Nets, teams like the Houston Rockets. I think my biggest issue with this list, Luke, is just the lack of consistency. To me, saying the Orlando Magic, you're looking at the last 10 or so years since Dwight Howard left. The Magic have been the worst team in the league over that span, right? If you look at it in the short term, however, so have the Oklahoma City Thunder the last few years been one of the worst teams in the league. They're ranked 8th. Again, if we're kind of looking at this in the short term, the Phoenix Suns, they went to the finals a couple of years ago. They're ranked 10th. But the Los Angeles Lakers, who won a title 3 seasons ago, are ranked 20th. So as we're looking through this, there's just no rhyme or reason. There's no clear criteria for what is a good managed team or a bad managed team, length of time, recent wins, recent playoff success. There's no consistency anywhere on this list. And to me, it just seems like you start going through what you think are the best managed teams in the league, you completely forget about the Orlando Magic, and then at the end you're like, oh, I guess we should just put the Magic here because we don't want to redo the entire list. It's just another chapter in the fact ESPN is ridiculous. Hashtag abolish national basketball media. I hate you. I hope you just disappear. Luke, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, right? It just seems like the Magic were an afterthought in this. I really don't know how you are able to say that the Kings are better managed. Like, that is my one thing that, like, it just doesn't make sense, right? If I have to nitpick and I'm a big, like, if you want to replace something, you have to say who you're going to replace with. I'm taking the Magic out of that last spot, and I'm putting the Kings in that last spot. They are worse than the Magic in terms of being managed. They're not great on the court this season already as well. I don't know how the Warriors aren't number one on this like managed list. I mean, you look at the Warriors and the pieces they've been able to keep together. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how the Heat are number one in terms of that. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. I think you pretty much covered everything there, but that's just where I'm at. I mean, as a Magic fan, everybody listening, if you're listening to this, you're probably a Magic fan. You get it. This isn't the first time that we've been disrespected by national media, and it's going to continue until the Magic can finally surface themselves as one of the at least competent on the court products in the league. So, whatever at this point. I'm not as fired up about it as you are, just because I have so far dismissed any of that stuff. Like it's whatever to me at this point, and it's ridiculous, obviously, but I won't lose sleep.
Well, I'm not going to lose any sleep either, just because I just don't really like value their opinions. I just take all these like kind of things personal, because it's just like, if you're going to put on the facade that you cover all the teams, then actually cover all the teams. Like, we know that there's no ESPN beat writer that covers the Orlando Magic. We know that for a fact. So don't like have these conversations where you are trying to like fairly and accurately rank like these different teams, like it really in any regard. I just don't think ESPN has any business talking about the Magic, because they've proven time and time again that they have no idea what they're talking about. And I don't mean for this to drag on, but like, if we talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder and what they've done the last 10 years, you just completely flopped your core of Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Serge Ibaka. That's why you're tanking year over year over year. Everybody wants to talk about how great Sam Presti is and, flipping all these guys. Right now, they have nothing to show for it. For the most part, they've been just as bad as the Orlando Magic. So how they're eighth, that just doesn't make any sense to me, because they have 5 billion first-round picks over the next however many years. It's just no consistency to this list. Our new patron said it best. ESPN really sucks. Let's move on. So, Luke, Monday night, the Orlando Magic were in New York City to take on the Knicks. It also happened to be Cole Anthony's mother's birthday. If you remember last season, the Magic played in Madison Square Garden again on Cole Anthony's mother's birthday. Cole Anthony played really well. The Orlando Magic went on to a victory. That was not the case in this one. The Magic lose 115 to 102. The issues just with rebounding, with the zone defense that the Magic have been playing, the inability to hit from behind the arc, all reared their ugly heads in this one, as, again, the Magic's offense just really, really struggled if it wasn't directly going through Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero. And guys like Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson just really gave the Magic issues on the glass. Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle, especially on the offensive glass. Throw Isaiah Hartenstein in there again, too. I know he was a free agency target of ours in the offseason, at least in our discussions. You and I never really had any real links to the Magic, but he made our backup center not look great. So, frustrating loss against the Knicks. Luke, what was your main takeaways from Monday night?
I think what is the most frustrating is just that usually when there's a loss, like, you're able to point it to efficiencies mainly, right? You're able to say, we didn't shoot the ball well, and we didn't. But on the flip side, we shot 7 of 35 from 3. The Knicks shot 11 of 37. There's not too much discrepancy. But neither team shot the ball exceptionally well. Magic shoot roughly 42% from the field. Knicks shoot 46% from the field. The Magic get to the free throw line shoot 2 more free throws than the Knicks. We shoot better from the free throw line, 85% to their 72. But where you can start to see the little things that the Magic are doing incorrectly come into place, it's as simple as not finding your man and boxing out. The Magic get route rebounded 50 to 41, but the kicker was that the Knicks had 18 offensive rebounds. They're just too many. It's too many, and I get it. Mitchell Robinson is a monster. Julius Randle was great on the boards as well. And then the final thing that was an issue for the Magic was just ball movement. Magic had 14 assists to the Knicks' 24 assists in this game, and you saw it from the jump of the game. And that was the first thing that I was saying to myself when I'm watching the game is there's zero ball movement. You've got guys standing around. Nobody's even cutting, which is pretty uncharacteristic for some of these guys on the team, as we know, like such as Franz Wagner. Not to call him out, but he is someone who is known to be a cutter. And at the beginning of that game, it just looked there was no flow or rhythm to be even established. There was, you had, Cole Anthony with the ball, just dribbling up at the wing and nothing else going on. It was just so much of that, of just standing around. And it seems to be a common theme. But it was very apparent from the beginning of that game in MSG.
So I went back after the loss Monday night, and I watched every Knicks offensive rebounding. I would say probably like 3 or 4 of them were just like effects of running the zone and just like pulling guys away from the basket. But like 14 or 15 of those 18 offensive rebounds are guys just like a shot goes up and you're hoping and praying the ball is going to bounce directly to you. You're not turning and getting your body on a man. Like Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle and Isaiah Hartenstein are just like frankly outworking our guys. Like you're not in good position. You're hoping the ball is coming to you. You're not going and getting the rebound. As much as we want to talk about as incredible as Paolo Banchero has been, for me, I think that's really where like he has room for the most growth right now is as a rebounder. I think it was the second game. I think it was against Atlanta where he had like 12 rebounds, and we're like, oh wow, this dude like 20 and 12. I think it was against Atlanta. But yeah, like just plenty of times where he's just not getting a body on a guy right now, and he's a rookie. He's going to grow. He's going to get better at that. But like even Wendell Carter Jr., who we thought might be like a 16 and 12, 17 and 12 kind of guy this year. Definitely not looked the same Wendell, and his rebounding numbers aren't atrocious, but it's like, Wendell, you know better than this, man. Like you have to get a body on either Julius Randle or Mitchell Robinson, whoever you're matched up against on that possession. It's just stuff like that. That's like the Magic are going to struggle, scoring the ball at times. We know that. Like you give the ball to Franz, you give the ball to Paolo, and they're just trying to make things happen. I feel pretty good about that. Everything else, I'm super uncertain about whether or not the ball is going to go in currently.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just going to add, like, Mitchell Robinson, the crazy part and the really a testament to how badly the Magic were on the defensive glass. Mitchell Robinson had 6 rebounds. Number one, it felt like he had 30. And of those 6 rebounds, 5 of them were offensive. 5 offensive rebounds and 1 defensive rebound. Julius Randle had 4 offensive rebounds and 8 defensive rebounds. And then Hartenstein, there was barely a discrepancy between offensive and defensive. He had 4 offensive and 5 defensive rebounds. So just like inexcusable that these guys are rebounding almost better. And in Mitchell Robinson's case, much better, 5 times as better on the offensive glass than he was on the defensive boards. Like it was truly ridiculous and so frustrating to see that the Magic would get a stop and it would just be the point would be moot. Like that effort would be moot because you're giving up something so easy on the offensive glass. It's just ridiculous.
And Mitchell Robinson only ending up with 6 rebounds, like you said, one of those being defensive, is incredible given the fact that the Magic missed 50 shots. So like, and other thing is like we talked about this specifically after the Detroit game. It's not only that they're like offensive rebounds, is they're coming at like the most inopportune, like back-breaking ways, like where you played a great possession defensively, and then because you didn't box out, they're getting the ball back and laying it back in. So just really unfortunate. But like again, like looking at this game, you've got Paolo, 21.6 of 13, Franz 14, 5 of 15 from the floor, not great. Just in terms of efficiency. Wendell, 17. It did feel like this was like a better Wendell game. 17 and 11, 5 of 10 from the floor. But just like looking like down the line, like thank God for Bol, 19 points in 20 minutes, by the way. Like we were so wrong about Bol. And I'm happy to admit that. Like we didn't even think this guy was going to be in the rotation. Yeah. And 5 games in, he's been our 3rd best player. I don't even think that's it's not like a head and shoulders better than, let's say, like Wendell, who's probably 4th. Maybe Terrence is 4th. I don't know. Terrence had some good games, but Bol, like, to me, has been our 3rd best player and just did not see that coming.
No,
But
it's
you shoot
been
7 to 35 from the 3-point line, it's not going to be enough.
yeah, yeah, and just to touch on Bull, like you said, completely wrong. There might be people out there that are like, oh, I'm not ready, right? Like I've seen, I was low on Bull. I'm just not to the point. If you were as low on Bull as I was and as Jonathan was, you've seen enough.
I was a little higher,
You
just
were a
for the
little
record.
higher.
Slightly higher, slightly
You were
higher.
slightly higher. I was very much on the side of, I don't think that this guy's going to even get minutes. I'm glad that he is. Um, there's some of the shots that he takes, and I'm like, it's very weird with Bull because he either makes it look very easy, or it is one of the worst misses that I've ever seen. Like it's like I don't want this guy shooting anymore. But then he makes the like a bank three like he did against New York. He has a huge a big 3-pointer against Cleveland. Tonight or yesterday, as you guys are listening to this, like he is definitely an enigma still for me. But I am much more intrigued than I was before the season started.
Like I don't even know that like an enigma is fair because like he's actually playing well.
Mm.
Like it's crazy, but it's like we look good with Bull on the floor.
Yeah, I
And
guess
he's doing like crazy things. It's like I expected him to be really polarizing. Like he'd either be great or some nights he would just be terrible. And it's like, no, he's just consistently good and like continues to make impacts. Like I think coming into tonight's game, he was like third in the league in block shots.
Mm. With definitely not third in the league in minutes, that's for sure.
No.
That's the crazy part of it for sure. And yeah, Bull's been a bright spot. Bull and Paolo. And then honestly, until tonight, Franz really wasn't one for me. Like he was just trying to still find his own and was really struggling efficiency wise. Struggled again against Cleveland and in terms of from the 3-point line, but from the field, like until tonight, he really wasn't a bright spot. But after tonight, it's pretty blatantly clear. Like you're looking at Bull, Paolo, and Franz as like your knight in shining armors for the Magic right now.
And that's saying a lot for a team that is 0-5. Again, can't shoot the ball against the Knicks. You can't stop them from getting offensive rebounds. Like Luke alluded to, you're not moving the ball well. Just a recipe for a disaster. But let's go ahead and talk about the bright spot from the two games so far. The game against Cleveland. If you can't tell, I'm being sarcastic, but the Magic lose 92-103 against the Cavs tonight in Cleveland. Paolo Banchero, fifth straight game. I think he's the third number one overall pick in history. We've been talking about these guys, Elvin Hayes and Oscar Robertson, being the other guys to start all 5 games of their career. Number one overall pick, 20 plus games or 20 points per game. Excuse me, I should say 20 plus points per game. 29 points on 19 shots tonight for Paolo Banchero. The rebounding tonight, honestly, Luke, wasn't really the issue. For me, it was the 3-point shooting, and for us, 3-point shooting for the Cavs being really good. And just outside of Franz, Paolo, Bull, you just weren't getting much offensively tonight.
Yeah, the one thing I learned tonight, Jonathan, is that Evan Mobley is still an alien to me. You talk about Bull, obviously, in his own right, an alien. Evan Mobley is like, I don't know. I would trust him every time he touches the ball, to be quite honest. Like this guy just seems to get it. The game has completely slowed down for him. It already did last year, obviously, but 9 of 15, 22 points. Obviously, you would like something to be desired on the rebounding side from him tonight, but Jarrett Allen made sure that wasn't an issue with his 16 rebounds. So it truly is crazy. Jarrett Allen had 7 rebounds offensively tonight. It just kind of continues to rear its head in terms of just not being able to get stuff on the glass. Wasn't great like offensively. It was better, much better than against the Knicks. The Magic had 10 offensive rebounds. Cavs had 12. But tonight it was turnovers. You had 17 turnovers. You looked great in the paint in the first half. And then shout out to Bickerstaff in that second half. Really made some adjustments clearly because the Magic end up outscoring the Cavs in the paint only by 8, whereas in the first half, it was a much greater margin at that point. So they did a lot better job filling the paint, making the Magic actually, take and try to make 3-point shots. Magic shoot 25%. Again, there wasn't a huge discrepancy in terms of efficiency. Magic shoot 25%. The Cavs shoot 30%. Magic did an okay job getting to the free throw line, right? Like 21 attempts. Cavs get there 30 times though. Rebounding is virtually the same. I don't know, man. It felt like with even 5 minutes ago, the Magic had a very real shot of winning this game, and it just comes down to the fact that the Magic just once again, as a young team with a lot of injured players, cannot finish the job that they've seemingly is in their hands. So it's a good Cavs team. It's a great Cavs team. Magic have just run into these buzzsaws of teams in the first 5 games, which doesn't help. You're on the road. There's just a long, long list of what is contributing to these losses piling up, but much of the same in Cleveland, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, so they hit 10 threes. I just went and looked at the shot chart for the game. 8 of their 10 threes were wide open corner threes. Yep. Which, like, to me, just like cannot happen. And it was clearly schemed that way. You can see, like, especially Donovan Mitchell has the ball in his hands. He's going to get past any of the guards that we were playing tonight, whether it's Cole, whether it's Terrence. Kevon Harris got in there and helped a little bit, but I mean, Donovan Mitchell just 14 points tonight. But how many assists for him? 8 assists. I would venture to guess probably at least 4 or 5 of those were those skip passes wide open to the corner, and we just refused to make that adjustment like the entire game. Whoever was helping on that side was supposed to be helping on that corner man. You see them with at least one. A lot of times it was both feet in the paint. And we just don't have guys that are going to be able to close out that fast. It was most of the time, I think tonight it was either Paolo or Franz. Both of those guys can move pretty well for their size, but are not guys that are going to close out to the corner super, super quickly. So that was just frustrating because it felt like in that first half, if you're not giving up those corner threes, it felt like we could have had a significant halftime lead. At least that's how it felt to me. And then in the second half, you're kind of just hanging in there. And Paolo Banchero, who was incredible in the fourth quarter, it's like he's playing really well in the fourth, and then all of a sudden we decide to take the ball out of his hands, where it seemed like for a good stretch there. I mean, he had a couple of threes in the second half, but it just felt like every time he touched the ball, he was either getting right to the rim or he was at the free throw line. And maybe he was winded. Sure, we're just asking so much of this kid. I mean, again, another game tonight where he played basically 37 minutes. When was the last time you saw somebody playing 37 minutes for the Magic, especially a rookie in his first week and a half in the NBA? We're asking so much of this kid. So maybe he needed a breather. But, man, you went away from Paolo those last couple of minutes there, and we couldn't generate anything offensively. And it really, right now, it's either on Paolo or it's on Franz to fabricate something for you, whether it's a shot for themselves, whether it's an open look for someone else. But if they're not touching the ball, it feels like we can't do anything, and that is a massive problem.
Yeah, it's absolutely an issue. The one thing that I will say, just to kind of shed some light on a good part of tonight, Paolo Banchero shooting the 3-ball looked really good shooting the 3-ball when he was making them, right? Like he had 1 or 2 air balls. I don't remember, but
3 of 5 though. I mean, I'm never going to be mad at that.
I don't care how bad you miss if you're going 3 of 5 from the 3-point line, but just awesome to see him, with as much as he has struggled from the 3-point line to start the season, tells you his confidence is obviously still intact. Just willing to shoot those threes in big situations and momentum swinging situations. Had, I believe, a dribble step back tonight, I want to say, as well. Just looked super confident. I think it says a lot. I think it says a lot to me just because he's doing this against teams that are respectable, right? Like, we know this. We know how good he is. But just the confidence that just exudes from him against these teams like the Cavs, who are young, great teams who, honestly, I hope the Magic are able to kind of copy a trajectory. If what happens with them this season, happens, if what I think will happen with them, it is encouraging to see Paolo do that. And, you can't say enough about him. Like you said, carrying the workload as a rookie, 37 minutes, continuously working and not shying away from shooting the ball. He's been truly incredible to watch.
The one that was crazy to me was in the fourth where he like head faked Mobley and Mobley
Yeah.
kind of blows by him and he has like kind of like the almost double clutch.
Yeah.
And it was just nothing but net. So we know that he hasn't been incredibly efficient from behind the arc through the first 5 games, but you see the flashes and you're like, okay, like this is repeatable. Like we can get somewhere, we can work with this. So like that's been super encouraging. Again, like for me, like the biggest thing with Paolo right now is just like in terms of rebounding, he just has to have better positioning. I don't know if it's being schemed that way where like we're just not putting bodies on guys for some reason. But again, like you alluded to the fact, Jared Allen tonight, 7 offensive rebounds. Like we just can't have stuff like that. Like we need to cut down on the second chance points. We need to get stops and get those opportunities going the other way as much as we can right now. We need more possessions because we're not putting the ball in the basket at an efficient rate, again, outside of a handful of guys. So you're going to need more possessions and stops if you're going to keep up with these teams that really can put the ball in the basket. 25% from the 3-point line tonight. Again, just it's miserable.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I need to ask you a question. I need to ask you, where was RJ Hampton tonight?
That's another regrettable point. Yeah, I mean, Kevon Harris, 22 minutes tonight, and RJ Hampton was a DNP CD or a did not play coach's decision. I don't know. I don't know if perhaps, I mean, if he was hurt, he would have been listed on the injury report, which he wasn't. We didn't hear anything about that. Like, yeah. Kevon Harris is a two-way guy, right? So he's only going to be with the roster a limited number of days this year. RJ Hampton, obviously still under contract with the Magic. Kevon Harris is slightly better defensively than RJ Hampton, but is a complete like zero offensively right now. He's not giving you anything tonight. 22 minutes, 0 of 3 from the floor, 3 rebounds and 1 steal, 2 turnovers. RJ Hampton at least can be a secondary ball handler and shot 40% on catch and shoot threes last year. So for a team that desperately needs spacing right now and maybe a little bit more like dynamism, did I say that correctly? I know I said that once before and completely botched it.
I have no idea.
I think it's dynamism. We're going to go with that. Just give you something in terms of like transition. Give you another athlete that can run the floor. Like RJ Hampton is grown leaps and bounds compared to what we saw last year. And the fact that he's getting a DNP for Kevon Harris to me is crazy. I need to hear an explanation on that.
Yeah, well, he obviously gets a DNP tonight. And against the Knicks, Jonathan, RJ Hampton played 7 minutes against the Knicks, shot the ball 1 time, went 0 of 1. And then against the Celtics, 9 minutes, doesn't shoot a single shot, gets to the free throw line, I believe, has 1 point in that game. He hasn't played nearly as much as you would think RJ Hampton would play. Plays 16 minutes against the Hawks. And in the opener against the Pistons, while I'm here, I might as well just finish it off here, played 11 minutes. So he has been playing significantly less minutes here in the last
especially with
games.
All the guards that we have out.
It is truly ridiculous to me.
And Cole missed that first game.
Right. So I don't know what's going on. RJ Hampton, you can quickly, like, if you want to be a box score watcher and you go look at his efficiencies, yes, it doesn't look great, 33% from the field, but 50% from 3, right? Like 0.5 attempts because he's playing 11 minutes a game right now. That was before tonight. So he's playing less minutes on average now than 11 minutes. Basketball Reference hasn't updated yet with that 5th game tonight. But it is just ridiculous that he's not even getting a look. This team stinks, Jonathan. Like, this team is awful, abysmal, atrocious. I'm watching the game tonight and I'm like, man, thank goodness that I get to at least watch Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero play, because none of these other guys besides Bull are any bit enjoyable right now. And it is ridiculous. Like, I don't have words to honestly elaborate enough on like why a two-way player that is essentially doing the same thing, like running the same thing that RJ Hampton is running. You see RJ Hampton with the ball in his hands when he's in the game, bringing up the court. Same thing for Harris.
I don't even think that's fair to RJ. I think RJ has a tighter handle.
Yeah. Well, right. But I'm saying like their role is virtually the same. Why can you not just give RJ some of those minutes? Like the fact that he gets a DMP, it just doesn't make sense. And especially when this team really would benefit from, more shooting. I don't get it because I just saw like Harris have plays tonight where I'm like, I don't like. You remember where we got to the point with MCW? Love MCW, but we got to the point with him where we were just like, you are great defensively, and we love you there and your intensity and the passion you bring. But please, God, do not shoot the basketball when it comes to you. Just pass the ball right along, make us look good with some ball movement, bud, and move along. That's what I want to tell Harris. Like, what are we doing? I don't understand, and it's just like it's never good when he puts the ball up. I'm sorry, but it's not his fault. Like he's getting run, but he is a G League player.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about Mosley, I think, for a couple of minutes here. Like, first of all, he's not been as bad as some people are like trying to make him out to be, but he's certainly not been perfect. And there's some decisions to me that have just really been concerning so far. Like we talk about not making the adjustment on those, like those skip passes, the open corner threes. I don't want to hear, oh, it's middle of the game, you can't make adjustments to the scheme. Paolo, when you drop, instead of having 2 feet in the paint, just kind of slide over a little bit. If you're late helping at the rim, whatever. But these guys are killing us from the 3-point line. Like we're just giving Dean Wade open 3-point shooters. My favorite D Wade, as a matter of fact, is Dean Wade. But like that's really concerning. I think it's like 3 games in a row now, sitting Franz and Paolo at the same exact time. To me, it feels like we need one of those guys on the floor basically at all times. Maybe just like you want them to play together enough, that might not be completely possible, but sitting them together every single time just feels like too much. Yeah. Like you got to give us at least a few more minutes a game where one of these guys is on the floor, because again, without them, there's just literally nothing happening offensively.
Yeah.
Guys are trying to do too much. If we are getting open looks, guys still aren't making them. So like something has to give. And then like the Kevon Harris thing, like whatever is happening with RJ Hampton is really weird. Mo Bamba and Chuma Okeke have been struggling, and Mosley and even Jeff Weltman talked about guys being more accountable this year, and Mo and Chuma have not been playing well, and I think we kind of saw that reflected in the rotation tonight. Mo plays 7 minutes, Chuma plays 5.5 minutes. But like if that's the case, like RJ Hampton played really well in preseason, showed massive improvements from just a couple of months ago when we saw him in Summer League. I don't get why he's not seeing the floor at all. To me is crazy when you're not going to have Kevon Harris the entire season.
Yeah. It's not like you have a healthy guard
let's see some Admiral
right
Schofield. We know that Admiral is going to come in and hustle. He's going to defend. He's going to rebound. Those are 2 of the most glaring weaknesses that we've seen through 5 games with the Magic. Let Admiral get any run. Like you say that you're like looking and you're searching for like a lineup that works. Let's see Admiral Schofield. Like we're already seeing Kevon Harris for 22 minutes. What's 12 minutes of Admiral Schofield going to do? Is it really going to hurt you that much? You're 0-5.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose at this point. You're already losing. Let's switch some things up. Like something has to change, because you can like harp on accountability. And I know he is basically coaching with one arm tied behind his back right now with the amount of guys that we're losing. You probably can't keep guys as accountable as you would like because you just don't have the bodies.
Right.
But at some point, like RJ has not been terrible when he's been on the floor. Has he been great? No. But it's not like he's going out there and turning the ball over, 5 and 6 times. Like let's switch some things up. Something's got to change. I don't know what it is. I'm not an NBA coach. I don't have the answers. You don't have the answer, Sway. Maybe I shouldn't make a Kanye joke. That's probably a poor taste. That dude is just really off his freaking rocker right now. And yeah. But anyways, this game just sucks. I'm just pissed, man. Like we're 0-5. This sucks. ESPN doesn't give us any respect. We lost 3 or 4 of these games. Felt like we could have won these games.
Yeah.
And we just need guys back so badly. We'll talk about this, I don't know, maybe the episode on Monday. because it feels like we're just ranting at this point. But people that are trying to make the case that getting guys back isn't going to make a difference, what games are you watching? That's my question.
And
You
also, how
don't
do
think
you even
Markel,
know?
Gary Harris, Jalen Suggs, Jonathan Isaac coming back isn't going to make a difference? I don't know what sport you're watching. It's really, really confusing to me. So we're halfway through this 4-game week here, Luke. You thought the Mets were going to go 1-3 on the week with picking up the win against Charlotte. So we play Charlotte on Friday at home, and then we hit the road again. This schedule just sucks. Sunday we play at Dallas to play the Mavs. I had us going 2-2. I thought we were going to beat New York and Charlotte. You said we were going to beat Charlotte. Do you feel any differently about the next 2 games here?
Charlotte goes to the wire with the Knicks. Tonight, they lose the game, but still same kind of scenario as us. Like went to MSG, but they took them to the brink, and so good on Charlotte playing without LaMelo, obviously, and we'll see. But the reason I went 1-3 is Jonathan is I just don't think like no matter how close this team gets with the amount of players injured and the amount of just like Kevon Harris's that we have to watch in the rotation, I just don't think this team can get it done. It is so hard, and I'm reminded every time we flip on the TV to watch these games, it is so hard to win an NBA game. It is ridiculous because every NBA team has a guy, like has some guy that either is the guy every night for that team, or they can just randomly drop, 20 to 30 on your head without even needing to be the guy on a regular basis, especially when you're playing against the rotation and the guys the Magic have going out here on the court every night. I don't have a lot of faith that this team can win games. Obviously, we're 0-5. I don't think that's a crazy take. I just don't know. It is worrisome, Jonathan, because I genuinely, I'm not going into games thinking like we can, like after we started the season 0-3, I was like, this team has a chance every night. And we said it, you said it. This team has a chance every night because Paolo Banchero is on the floor. Paolo drops 29 tonight, and I had no faith down the stretch that this team was going to pull that game out, even when they were up with 5 minutes to go.
I felt a little bit differently. Like when we started to close the gap into the last few minutes, when it was 4 minutes and it was a 5-point game. Like to me, you're an NBA team. All it takes is a turnover, a stop, a basket, and a 3, and it's a tie game. And then like last couple of minutes, anything can happen. I get what you're saying. Like you just feel like you're outmanned and outgunned. And as good as Paolo's been and as good as Franz has been, like tonight, especially in the fourth quarter, we just needed anybody else to do anything. And nobody did. Yeah. And that's super concerning.
Yeah. I mean, you're watching, dude. Yes, we have Paolo, we have Franz. But the other side of the court, I'm looking at Donovan Mitchell. I'm looking at Jarrett Allen, who has been dominating just the boards. He dunks all over Bol. And like they looked like we made them like there was points where I was like, this looks like they're an all-star team and we're just incapable. It truly feels that way for me right now. Maybe, and yes, I am obviously very much one way or the other, and I'm all the way that way or all the way this way. But it does feel like
I've never heard a more accurate description
amen, hallelujah,
of Luke Sylvia in my life.
Start singing
facts.
Soon. But regardless, that's how I feel with this team. This team is 0-5. This team has played some unfortunate opponents here early. You're on the road a lot. The team is young. You're injured. There's just not a lot of like factors to success. Like this team is not being set up for success right now. And that is why it is so easy for me to believe that the Magic drop these next 2 games. And the Magic, we're looking at them being 0-7. So, and then at what point, like, dude, you're racking up the losses in the next month. Oh, look, our guys are healthy. But like, I don't know. At that point, what's your record? And is it even worth it to like throw these guys out there, except for on these ridiculous minute restrictions for the rest of this year where they don't play back-to-backs? There's just such a harsh reality that I think could hit the Magic in the next month.
I don't know that I agree with that. I mean, like you're right. There's a point where all of a sudden it's like, man, this is a massive mountain that we have to climb if we want to be like competitive whatsoever in the East play-in tournament. like Ji to me is the only guy that you can really justify having a ridiculous minutes restriction when he comes back. Like Markelle should not have a minutes restriction when he comes back.
No.
Jalen Suggs should not. Gary Harris maybe, but it shouldn't be like anything like close to what we saw from like Markelle last year. I agree with. And certain questions that I have and like the way the team is performing so far, I can't help but these kind of thoughts that creep in. It's like, all right, I know we weren't necessarily selling out to win games this year, but is the number one goal still development? Because last year it was development all the way. Like there wasn't any like winning games and blah blah. It was just development. And this year it felt like the goal was to at least be somewhat competitive. I just Jeff and John were there to see Victor Wembanyama versus Scoot Henderson. Did they see that and were like, screw this season? Like we'll do it one more year. We'll get another stud, and then we'll really be able to compete. Because I can't argue with that. Okay, the Magic are still somewhat devoid of talent, and talent that you can really depend on. Like looking at Jonathan Isaac, if he comes back and he's amazing, that's incredible. But we just don't know. Markelle Fultz in the last 2 seasons so far has played like 18 games. We haven't seen him so far to start this season. Jalen Suggs is a guy who played 48 games last year, and now so far to start this season has already missed 3 out of the 5 games. So I'm not going to sit here and say, if you do have a realistic chance of getting one of those guys and adding them to this team, obviously it takes you up a whole nother level. But I just maybe I was a fool. Maybe I was an idiot. Maybe I didn't want to let myself believe it, Luke, that we were going to tank away one more season. And maybe we get to a point in the next several weeks here where that becomes the case. But I'm not quite there yet. And I know that I've told you this, and Kevin was there with me. But after the loss in Atlanta, Jeff Weltman was pissed. He was not happy. Like he looked visibly frustrated at that loss heading back to the locker room after the game. So I am just choosing to believe that he really still wants to win games.
That was so long ago. It was
a week ago, yeah.
Yeah, we've racked up some losses since then. I don't know, man. There's not much else to say. We can speculate all we want, which is what we do a lot of on the show. We're fans just like you guys. We want answers. We also want to complain. We can't always be the super incredibly positive voice. We're definitely not being that tonight. And we understand the frustration, and we also want answers. And but most of all, we want a healthy team. That is the part that bugs me the most. We can wrap up here, Jonathan, but like that is the part that bugs me the most. What does this team look like fully healthy? We're definitely not 0-5. I'm not watching Kevon Harris play crazy minutes. It's just I don't know, man. I don't know.
It feels crazy, but it just like it's been basically 4 seasons of this. Like I don't feel like we'll ever be healthy. Logic says that eventually we will be, but to me it's been part of our reality for so long now that I just don't feel like anything else is really possible. I didn't give my prediction. I still think we win Friday against Charlotte. Like, are you going to match the worst start in franchise history? Like, especially if LaMelo Ball doesn't play, which I don't know if we've gotten any news that he's getting super close to that. I just have to believe that at home, you're not playing second night of a back-to-back. You took Boston to the brink last Friday or last Saturday. And you just have a bunch of guys who are competitors on this team who are capable, and they just need to step up and play well and get us to a win. I don't know how. I'm not going to tell them exactly how they need to do that, but they just need to get it done. Honestly, like you're professionals. This is a team that you can beat. The start of the season, especially without LaMelo, we might have said like they should beat this team, and you just have to find a way to not go 0-6. You got to dig down deep, find that competitive fire and that pride, and you have to get a win at home. And then you lose on Sunday to Dallas. But I'm going to say that we still win that game, and that would give you the win on the week in terms of projections. And I'll sell my soul for that right now. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Man, well, it's going to be really crazy when we go 77-5, Luke. That's all I got to say.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
It's going to be really, really crazy.
Get the Hornets, and then we beat, Luka Doncic.
Everybody.
And Dallas, and then everybody else in the league can get it.
Dear God. I really don't know that I can do an entire season again like the last 2 seasons. I don't know that I have it in me. But like the Magic need to do on Friday, I'm going to dig down deep and just find a way.
Find a way.
Just find a way to win. That's all we ask. We don't ask for too much. Just find a freaking way to win. But I think that's going to do it for us. For Luke Sylvia, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You guys have been listening to The Sixth Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya. Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sixth Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!